This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz podcast.
Dick Vitale would be walking out of that shower.
Absolutely.
Amin Hassan has bombed in with us. Ron Magill is here to save the animal kingdom. If you want to be a giver, this is an easy place to do it because Ron Magill's work is pure on behalf of the animals. We've got questions, as we always do around here, for the Animal King. We learn something every week. Also, Chris Whittingham wants to read a letter that defends Greg Cote, and Chris Cote wants to play music that he believes the audience will find funny, but that will make his father weep with joyous narcissism. So we will get to that song in a moment. But first, Ron Magill, on behalf of the animals, Amin Hassan has something for you to start us off.
Ron, you've often said that, if you encounter a bear, you want to make yourself big and say, hey, bear, right?
Most of the time.
Yes. So most of the time is the key part, because I read that that won't work with polar bears. So what do you do if you encounter a polar bear?
Say your last prayers.
You're just...
Wow. Just that's it. There's so a polar bear is eating and that's it. You run, whatever, it's climbing up a tree, or you've got no chance. There's no way that just a weapon helps you. You're not going to win.
Really, a polar bear is truly the only truly carnivorous bear that eats basically meat. And anybody will tell you that it is by far the most dangerous bear. You could scream and holler all you want. There's no chance of running away. It'll catch you. I don't know what else to tell you, but generally speaking, the odds are very much against you with a polar bear.
Wow.
When you get saddened by climate change's ravages, Ron, where does the emaciated polar bear rank, just making you sad having to witness it?
Well, it's obviously the poster animal for climate change, right? They're not able to go out in the ice. But I'll tell you what, I don't think polar bears are going to become extinct. I think what polar bears are probably going to do is they're going to adapt. I think they're going to, instead of saying, listen, I'm really hungry, I can't get out on the ice, I got to look for food elsewhere, they're going to be coming inland. They're going to start challenging things like Kodiak bears for things like elk and some of the big land mammals. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing significant crossbreeding between things like polar bears and Kodiak bears. I think these animals are going to adapt. Yes, I think their numbers will be significantly reduced. I think a great number of them will suffer and starve, but I think there will be a certain number of them that will adapt to this climate change, so to speak. If they can't get out on the ice and get seals, they're going to find something else. I mean, at the end of the day, a big elk, a big moose will provide them with the protein they need, maybe not the fat they need in the ratio that they need it, but I think there's going to be an adaptation there. Again, this is not to say, oh, don't worry about it. It's still a horrible situation. But I am very, very hesitant to think polar bears are going to become extinct rather than just adapting and challenging the Kodiak bears on the land.
What is the hybrid called between a polar bear and a Kodiak bear? Because I know between a polar bear and a grizzly, they call them pizzlies.
Oh, no, growlers.
Goliath.
They're growlers, not pizzlies. What are you talking about?
No, pizzly is a real thing.
I know. Growler is what it's called.
No, this is
Look it up.
tomato thing.
No.
Why don't we just ask Ron?
No.
Yeah.
Let's fight.
They come up with different types of names. For instance, like a lion and tiger, one is called a tyon, the other one's called a liger. The tyon is when the male is the tiger and the female is the lion, and the liger is when the male is a backwards, the other way around. So they switch them around that way, depending on which one's the female, which one's the male.
I've got follow-up questions on your evolution here. The Kodiak bear, polar bear fight. How's that one going?
Well, the Kodiak bear is the largest of the land bears. And some will say the Kodiak bear actually gets larger than the polar bear. I think it's a 50-50, buddy. Unless, of course, it's in the water, the polar bear is probably going to have an advantage. But I'm going to go with a 50-50. I mean, a huge Kodiak certainly has the ability to take out a polar bear. That's going to be one of the things where it's, Fraser Ali.
And what kind of spawn monster are you having coming for human heads in the evolution of the Kodiak bear and the polar bear? Because now you're creating an even stronger version of a hunting animal, are you not? Of a predator.
Yeah, but you know what, Dan? Unfortunately, none of those predators can outrun a gun. So as long as humans are out there with the big guns, they'll always have the advantage, unfortunately.
Ron, you are setting up...
Unfortunately.
Ron, you are setting up a fight card for pay-per-view in the Animal Kingdom. It's 3 fights, You have an opener, a middle fight, and a headliner. What are the 3 fights?
Wow, that's a good one, huh? Well, I mean, I guess you're going to have to go with a.
Let me help you out here, though, Ron, just a little bit. In that the opening fight, people are just trickling in. You don't want to give away the goods.
Are we
here.
doing weight classes?
I do watch a little bit of sports, and no, we're not doing weight classes because then you got to. No, don't complicate my life here.
Well, the heavyweights can't be fighting on the undercard.
Okay.
The flyweights are the best
Well, if
fights.
they're shitty heavyweights, they can.
Ron, did you just feel patronized by Dan?
Yeah, a little bit. So here we go. On the opening, I'm going to go with a badger and a wolverine.
All right,
That's
there we go.
the-
Oh, yeah.
All right, we got our flyweight.
Yeah.
We got
Not
our
bad.
flyweight.
That's not bad.
How long?
Okay.
How will that fight go?
Noisy
That
fight.
fight,
Noisy.
that fight's going to be a toss-up. I'm not giving a fight with obvious odds. I'm giving a fight that you're going to have to watch the whole damn fight. It's not going to go down in one round.
This one's going to the judges.
This is probably going to the judges. I'm thinking this may go to the judges. Badger and a wolverine. Number 2.
And wait, before you go to number 2, number 3 is going to be horrible to watch. Correct? Nobody's going to actually want to watch that fight. Those fighting animals.
But it depends. It depends, Dan. Listen, I think half of those UFC fights are horrible to watch. These guys are pulverizing, blood spattering everywhere, noses on one side of the face. It's just horrific stuff, man. So it depends on what kind of person you are. Some people thrive on that stuff. There are people who are looking for the train wreck. Those people are going to love the badger and the wolverine. It's just going to be, it's going to be horrific. Okay. So next,
Number 2.
tiger and a lion.
Oh, the classic.
Classic.
Wow.
What's our main event?
Wow.
I'll tell you, the main event is going to be a toss-up, man. I would go with the Kodiak and the polar bear, or the great white shark and the killer whale.
Ooh.
Good
We
luck
know
getting
how that
them in a
one's
ring.
going. That one's going well under. Those are super heavyweights. That's not seeing round 2. You haven't seen the Shark Week footage, the drone footage of the killer whales? They'll just eat the liver within 30 seconds.
Yeah, but that's the killer whales. One-on-one, it's a different story.
Uh-huh.
Okay, one-on-one, it's a different story.
Tell us more. Tell us more, Ron. How does the fight in the epic heavyweight division here as Shark Week? We just celebrated Shark Week. You're telling me the Great White has a chance one-on-one?
I am absolutely telling you a great white has a chance one-on-one. Okay? Not as see, Mike's shaking his head because he doesn't want to believe. But I'm telling you, guys, it's like, if he gets the first punch in, gets the first bite, causes incredible bleeding. He's just as fast as going to be the killer whale.
So you're giving the great white. You're giving the great white the puncher's chance.
I'm giving him the puncher's chance. If he gets that first shot in there, that bam, it's over.
But is he a big underdog though? Is there because
he is a bit of an underdog? There's no question the great white is a bit of an underdog. But depending on the odds, I might put my money on it. Could be a big payout. Okay. Because I think the great white has a chance. And listen, while we're on this Shark Week stuff, I've been doing so many interviews about sharks and shark attacks and all this stuff happening in the Northeast. Let me give you guys some stats so you put things in perspective, okay? There are over 400 species of shark in the world. Over 80% of those species never get longer than 4 feet long. Keep that in mind, okay? Last year, 9 people died from shark attack in the entire planet. 9 people last year. Last year, 100 million sharks were killed by people. Okay, let's keep this all in perspective.
Scoreboard.
We just did a podcast, though, that is available now with the director of a podcast called Reunion, where the bull sharks were attacking with fatal rates that no one's ever seen, and it seems like the bull shark is angry. Is it possible that that climate differences might be creating ecosystem changes that would make some animals more aggressive than they have been in places where surfers, numerically, where surfers used to feel safer?
Well, Dan, I'll tell you what's happening. At least with the white sharks up in the Northeast, yes. The water's getting warmer. These sharks are coming more inland. But more importantly, and the thing you have to keep in mind is it's also creating a population explosion of seals and sea lions, which is the white shark's favorite food. And when these guys are going in, if you guys ever been up to a beach in the Northeast, it's not like going to a beach here in Florida. You got these beautiful crystal clear waters. You got murky water. It's cold. It's got seaweed and crap all over the place. These sharks are basically biting out of mistaken identity. You got a surfer in a wetsuit on a board, it can be easily mistaken for a seal or sea lion. These sharks will bite, and more often than not, they let it go. Trust me, Dan, if a white shark wanted to eat a surfer, he'd eat the surfer, and you wouldn't get a surfer walking out of that ocean.
It was
alive.
bull sharks,
Yeah, well,
though.
that happens. So that happens, and the sharks get really territorial. it's a case-by-case basis with these sharks. Sometimes they appear like they really like the human flesh because they finished the whole thing.
It's a case-by-case basis, Mike. But the overwhelming majority of them, you can always point out that one oddity where there is an actual death. Again, Mike, 9 people died last year. 9!
I will not have this strong defense of sharks. We need somebody to come out and come against these monsters, because I know every single last one of yous, if you see a fin in that water, you're getting the hell out, including Ron Magill.
No, not Ron.
No, Ron.
I swam with them. I've got pictures swimming with them.
Yeah. You see a bull shark fin, you see a tiger shark fin, you see a great white shark fin. Your ass is certainly out there on the dry land.
Well, Mike, you're right. I'm not gonna push my luck.
Oh, I'm not afraid of a dogfish, Ron. I'm afraid of these monsters of the ocean.
Dinosaurs of the sea.
Yeah.
You done now, Mike?
Ron, speaking of sharks, can you talk about the Greenland shark? I read that
Greenland shark, the oldest vertebrate on the face of the planet, man, can live to be over 300 years old. What a phenomenal animal when you think about that.
Ron, I have a follow-up question to the shark debate. Polar bears are amphibious, I assume, right?
Well, they are certainly the most aquatic of the bears.
Okay,
Yes.
is there any circumstance where a polar
I
bear...
can answer your question, Greg. No.
Is there any
They're not an amphibian.
Is there any circumstance where a polar bear versus a shark would actually be an interesting fight?
Not in the water.
What if the polar bear just jumped on him, like did
not
like
on
a
land
flying
either.
elbow, like a flying elbow from a big piece of ice into the water? Right on the
It's
shark.
not
Yeah,
good in the water.
that's what I'm
it's
thinking.
not good on land.
But the flying
either.
elbow like this, Ron.
Is this back to the knife?
Yeah, I was doing a thing.
Really?
The
hope you hurt
polar
yourself.
bear can go for the eyes, though.
Yep.
Hello,
Like
Cool J did.
Can
like
fake
Ric
a heart
Flair.
attack
Fake
and an
a-
eye gouge.
Dirty players, polar bears.
like Ric Flair. Whittingham, what do you have for Ron Magill?
Ron, I went down the beach this weekend, and there was an enormous amount of seaweed, and I did some reading on it, and it turns out there is a massive amount of nitrogen in the air as a result of deforestation. And I guess my question would be, what are the minor inconveniences of climate change? Yeah, we talk about the notion of our homes flooding here in Miami, but what are the minor inconveniences that will come as a result of climate change?
A lot more mosquitoes due to rain and due to more habitat for these mosquitoes to breed. And that's the inconvenience, that you're getting bitten by mosquitoes. The major inconvenience is a lot of those bites can transfer things like dengue and a wide variety of other diseases that can be fatal. So, you're getting this influx of insects can be a real pain in the butt. Of course, it's humidity, heat, humidity. I mean, how much of us are enjoying being out in the afternoon here in South Florida now? It's just like you can't really enjoy the outdoors like we could have maybe 30 years ago. Those are what I call inconveniences, but they all lead to major problems.
Another dreary note to end this lovely segment that many people have loved for years. Very popular. Listen to it with the kids. The world is ending. The mosquitoes are coming. The polar bears are going to fight the Kodiak bears and create a species of monster that will get more guns in the world. Thank you, Ron. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Sharks are good, Mark. Mike.
No, that's
No,
not
they're
right.
not.
That's
They're
not.
not.
Sharks are not
They're
good.
not.
Sharks are
Don't
not
boost your-
good.
Don't
Come
boost your
on,
metrics
sharks are
with
not
a
good.
Let me tell
shark
you something,
too.
brother.
They're not
When you
good.
start having to pay
Come
a ton of money for seafood because there's not good seafood available to eat because the sharks aren't keeping the population strong and healthy, come back and talk to me.
Joke's
then,
on
brother.
you. I also pay a lot right now for seafood.
You
Way
ain't
too
paying
much.
enough. When you got no sharks, you're going to be out of your price range, brother. You're going to have to get another gig.
Bullshit. I have no price range when it comes to sushi.
Bye, guys.
See you later, Ron. Let's go to the music that Chris Cote says that he has that requires some setup. Greg Cote joins us every week here as part of his promotion for the Greg Cote podcast featuring Greg Cote.
Greg Cote Show with Greg Cote. Thank you.
So a few months back, we did a bit where my dad talks about his Pebble Drive. It turned into Bruce Springsteen. Mike was doing his Bruce Pebble Drive down a
I was
Pebble.
born on a Pebblestone driveway.
And it inspired our Yeti Blanc from the Greg Cote Show podcast. He wrote a song. He's ours. And this song, and it's kind of like a funny song, but it's got some heart to it.
Well,
but
got some heart.
Did your father cry?
You got to listen to the podcast, but it was genuinely emotional, and it was actually like I love to make fun of my dad on the podcast. It was a moment that I even had to step back and be like, wow, this is kind of cool that my dad was moved by this.
Nice. And was he moved by it because the song was beautiful, or he just loves anyone singing his name?
It can't be both.
Down the wall at 1440 stood the test of time. The scent of villa rose flows through the Florida pine. Gary the Bag was a friend of mine. The wall at 1440 stood the test of time. You never know when it will be the time for letting go. So won't you take a walk with me on the Pebble Drive?
The Bruce Sax.
Well, I found a friend who found new heights, and we spent some yarn in the studio lights, and I yearn for days that feel like 10 lifetimes ago. And I take my son and we crack the mic and we talk about the things we like, and I open up my world just so they can get the show. The feel of my own footsteps on the ground. The framework on which I built this life that I have found. The memory that can't be drowned. The feel of my own footsteps on the ground. You never know when it will be the time for letting go. So won't you take a walk with me on a Pebble Drive?
A little long.
That wasn't the whole thing. Yeah, how happy is Yeti right
No,
now?
it's a proper single. They don't make them in
That's right.
30-second bites just for our show.
Yes,
It needed-
released today.
it needed to speed up a little bit. Get to the tears a little faster if you're going to
Needed
go
more
syrupy.
sax.
If you're
Needed
going to go
way more sax.
syrupy and sentimental.
You got to listen at 1.8 speed like I do to my own podcast.
What's the name of my man that was the saxophonist for E Street Band? Because he was the only black guy in the
Clarence
Clemens.
Clemens, thank
there
you.
go.
Yeah.
Thanks, Roy.
You're welcome.
That's actually a Miami guy, the saxophonist on that song.
Nobody wants more details on that song.
Okay.
Whittingham, can you get the letter?
Gary the Bag was a friend of mine.
I thought Paul Radke was the friend of yours.
I
think
had
I-
more than one
I
friend.
think I Venmoed Gary the Bag $1,000 last month.
What?
Why? CFL. Gary played again.
Whittingham,
Gary the Bag was a friend.
Thank you.
Gary the Bag was a friend of mine.
That's right. I love the song, even if Le Batard doesn't.
I mean, there was a nice little subtle hint about the show and cracking open a mic with your son.
It was.
Man.
I have to admit, I wanted to mock the whole thing, but it gave me the feels.
Yeah,
It's a song you'd play at Greg Cote's funeral.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Damn.
Yeah,
Please. Yeah.
Why did it turn
I'm just saying, 'cause
Continuous
it's
loop.
like, if you were listening to the lyrics, it's like about his life and talking,
Right.
being on the radio with Dan, doing a podcast with
Yeah.
me.
Dan
Like,
wasn't listening. He was setting up whatever
We should play it again.
snide remark he was
You
going
want
to
to
make
play it one more
after
time? We're going to play it again.
No, don't play it again.
No,
It's fine.
I'm playing it
Greg
again.
Cote
He
show.
really needs to get it. This is a great,
Play the long
great job of
Saturday music,
songwriting.
too.
Down the wall at 1440 stood the test of time. The scent of villa rose flows through the
Pizza shop.
Florida pine. Gary the Bag was a friend of mine. The wall at 1440 stood the test of time. You never know when it will be the time for letting go.
It is
So
about
won't
that.
you take a walk with me on a Pebble Drive? Well, I found a friend who found new heights, and we spent some yarn in the studio lights.
That's you.
I wish I could cry on cue.
Like 10 lifetimes
This part's about me coming up.
and I take my son and we
That's you.
the mic and we talk about the things we like, and I open up my world just so they can get the show. The feel of my old footsteps on the ground.
The times I miss the hard network out.
I was waiting for a little more funny instead of sentimental.
And I'll occasionally pick up says with a fake bird on a newspaper.
Well, not everything can be funny in life, Dan. You know, sometimes there's a time for serious.
I'll go 6 months with missing the benchmark I'm known for.
No, that lyric does not work.
No,
in that song.
back
I'm sorry.
my day
No.
this week, Dan.
I've taken advantage of a friendship. If this were an actual meritocracy, I'd never be here.
All right, that'll be in the sequel. That'll be in the next single.
I was just waiting for someone to shout out, "Ladies and gentlemen, the ghost of Clarence Clemens on the saxophone."
Do you have it back in my day?
No. God.
Sugats here for my friends over at Simply Safe. Around here, we talk a lot about the importance of good defense on the field or court. But what about defending your own home turf? Pretty important, huh? We believe home should be the safest place on earth for every family, which is why I use and recommend Simply Safe Home Security. Simply Safe is advanced whole home security that puts you, your home, and your family's safety first. Here's why I love it. Easy to install. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And I love to be able to keep an eye on my driveway to see what packages are coming up, keep an eye, see when the kids get home, when I'm away. I love Simply Safe. It is amazing. Simply Safe offers comprehensive protection, not only against intruders and burglary, but against expensive home hazards from flooding to fires with 24/7 professional monitoring. Simply Safe's agents take action the moment a threat is detected. You can customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/DLB. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. Again, that's simplysafe.com/DLB.
Dan Le Batard.
Fans cheer that type of stuff. Tom Brady went down with an Achilles the only time he got hurt in his entire career, and I was fist pumping in my living room at home because the Jets finally had a chance to win a division. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that. Is one of the most amazing sentences you've ever uttered.
Stugats.
From the maker of Trust Me, Don't Trust Me comes, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to apologize. You are amazing.
Thank you. I know.
You are a flabbergasting delight. You happen upon genius comedy by accident.
That's my gift.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats.
We are presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code DAN for a special offer when you sign up. That's code DAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2.
What are you doing there, Cruddy Springsteen? Did you hurt yourself doing Cruddy Springsteen?
You thought he was doing a Springsteen dance move.
Just hit my knee on this goddamn desk.
Well, now you actually sound like it was happening.
Susie.
I heard Springsteen in the other room, and it was
And
just...
I banged my knee against the center console.
That's more 90s kind of, was it Pearl Jam sounding? Like
Yeah,
that?
I gotta find it. She let you in her. All right, there I am.
More angst. There you go. Roy's got it.
Yeah.
You gotta have,
me.
yeah.
Me.
You were in pain, and I thought you were doing... This is what
All I said was, for the love of Susie.
I'm going to explain.
love of Susan.
I like this. Hold on.
I'm going to explain what I saw to the audience, which is it's Chris Whittingham saying 4, 3, 2, okay? And then I'm not looking, right? And I just hear catch before it clips on the last sound, something that sounds like Springsteen. And I think you're laughing at yourself because you're red-faced. But it's because you're in physical pain and I just caught the first part of For the Love of Susie. And I thought it was your Springsteen, and I thought you were laughing at your own Springsteen. Instead, you just hurt your knee on the console.
Like, the most physical pain I feel in my life is when I bang my knee on this damn thing. It's been I just want to get rid. We need a new setup.
We do.
I don't know what the deal is.
It has been too long.
Just-
It's been too long. It's a work
at my
injury
wit's
risk.
end.
I'm sorry. I am sorry that it made you shout for the love of
And I
Susie.
predicted it. You asked me to scoot over earlier in the show. I was like, I'm gonna bang my knee on this gun. We're in the weeds now. Back
It
to you.
shouldn't be there. It should. We should be
blame
better.
you for it.
After all these years, we should be better. It shouldn't be whatever it is that ESPN built out of wood and sparklers back there. It should be a better thing. You guys deserve better.
I'm over Formica. I gotta tell you, there's a reason why Formica is no longer acceptable.
I am promising you on behalf of Meadowlark Media as a company, we will do better soon.
Soon.
I'm talking to you guys and I'm talking to everybody listening to this. Soon, this will be better. All of it will be better, and you will not bump your knee and do fake Springsteen, and we will lose that forever. Like, that moment will be lost because you'll be in a suit back there looking like Field Yates doing the show ESPN wanted you to do before they dumped you in the street.
Table made of Formica.
I like how every melody is still dancing in the dark.
It's him. I'm picturing, is it Courtney Cox like dancing across from him, discovered on the.
You know, that's the origin of the Carlton dance. That's what inspired it. Literally, Courtney Cox dancing in that video.
That's also where she was discovered, correct?
Yep. Well, I think she was. I mean, that wasn't a real concert, right?
No, it was a music video.
Yeah. And so she was discovered at some point before that. That's how she was in the music video.
Whittingham, the letter that you got because you've been soliciting old-fashioned letters. Greg Cote loves a letter, right? People are still writing letters to the newspaper trying to reach you, even though the physical offices of the newspaper aren't even there anymore. Correct?
Yeah, it goes to a dead letter file or something. I don't know.
You don't even get them.
No, I don't know how to get them physically anymore. There is no office. Like, there's no Miami Herald building. It's weird.
You do not know how to get letters written to you by readers. It is the one of the simplest ways of communication. You don't know how to do it.
No.
Because he's not going to give away his home address. Right. So this would be the only location, right?
So if a reader to a newspaper wishes to write something and communicate with somebody, if they do not do it by email, it is not available to them.
Right. I mean, theoretically, somebody can leave me a phone message, but, you know.
I didn't realize that had died.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's.
I still get tons of emails. You know, people can still contact me, but.
Well, it has not died here. Chris Whittingham, old soul that he is soliciting from all of America and North America and everywhere that you listen to this, really. He is promising you that your complaints about the show, that they will be heard, if not read on the air, if you write them in personal letter form. Keep the stamp industry alive. Help the U.S. postal system. Bezos wants everything. What do you have?
Let him have it. Bezos, if he wants it, let him have it.
Retail, all of retail. I mean,
the mail system?
He already took
everything.
all of retail.
Take it. Look, as long as I can get a return on my phone, and then they say, you know what, just keep it. We'll give you the money back. You know what, take it. Take it all, man. You got it.
That happens a lot, right?
It happens quite a bit.
Also, the entire system for returning things with Amazon, even if you do have to take it back, you literally just take the item to a UPS store, give it to them, and leave.
Scan my phone.
It's unbelievable
He
how quick
deserves
it
it.
is.
You know what? You win.
It's spillage over the side, right? Some of the math on some of this stuff. I thought Walmart was just rigging the system back when they could deal with $3 billion in credit card fraud every year because they were just selling so much, right? Like, I thought that was the industry cheating, but keeping your returns, because Amazon is just like, bleep it. You know how much gas it cost here to bring that like 1.99 bracelet you bought for that costume? Like, wait, how much of this is happening right now?
How many millions?
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Whittingham,
Tango.
where is the
How
letter?
many millions?
You guys must stop this. You must stop polluting this show with a Sylvester Stallone movie, 40 years old, that you're doing impersonations of characters. Nobody listening to this.
As Bruce Springsteen.
You are actively,
I just want to make that very clear.
alienating the audience by doing Jack Palance, who died 20 years ago, as a villainous character who was holding two mice, right?
Yes.
And he was chasing around Sylvester Stallone, and that guy with the giant chin.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
No.
No.
I'm talking about
He's a
one
good
of the
guy.
bad guys.
One of the
Kurt
bad guys
Russell.
in the prison. Yeah.
One of the
Russell had
bad
the jaw.
One of the bad guys in the
Kurt
prison.
Russell has a jaw.
He
It's why
does.
Walt Disney's last 2 words were Kurt Russell.
Mike.
You didn't know
What?
that? Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
Hit it.
You didn't know that?
Hit the sound.
What? That's not a laugh. That's just a nice little bit of information. Did you not know that?
Again, with
can't be true.
your asshole is the source of pepperoni.
Oh, I thought you were calling me one.
Oh.
No, this is true. Google it.
What
Look
do you,
it up.
The last,
Look it up.
the last
No
word-
one's here.
Your
Look
own
it up.
research.
That's not the
The
giant.
last 2 words. How much you want to bet?
Kurt
How much you want
Russell.
to? Let's do this. How much you want to bet me?
I don't want to do it that way.
That's right.
Gambling.
Coward.
Gambling.
I would
Yeah.
like everyone.
Let's go a half unit.
They know too.
Well, half unit.
I would
Give me
like
my fiat wallet.
everyone listening to this to simply Google giant jaw guy from Tango and Cash, and then Google the recent photos of Oscar De La Hoya with his eyes as wide as saucers, going crazy because he might be.
Many have alleged.
Many have alleged that that there might be some help that he's getting there pharmaceutically.
Any reason as to why Kurt Russell would be the last 2 words of Walt Disney? I know he was like a child star, so maybe he was still trying to cast a role.
Well, we're still trying to prove if it's true.
Oh,
we
it
don't
is.
know. We don't know your
Oh,
story.
you can take this one to the bank. I've never been more certain of anything.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Kurt Russell. It would
Walt
seem.
Disney's last 2 words were Kurt Russell. Still waiting for someone to tell me I'm wrong.
You will be waiting for a while. Let's get
I'll
this.
be waiting forever.
This
Because
letter.
I'm not.
Let's get this letter going as we search the entire.
Pepperoni's made of asshole. Still has not been disproven.
So we were trying. So Greg felt particularly attacked after today's edition of the Big Suey, particularly from his son. And so I said, Greg, we have.
It was shocking. Okay, it was legitimately shocking. And Chris, you and I have been getting this criticism a lot that we're too mean to your old man as he comes in here and does the show and does his best, and that you and I specifically
Does his best is debatable.
right didn't do. Do you have your back in my day today?
No. Hell no.
Chris, we have been identified as being too harsh on him, but during Big Suey, you hit him with an acidic spray of "you have been useless" this segment, and it had 2 decades of "he's your father" resentment behind you. The useless had so much chest in it.
I mean, we were all dancing that segment. The segment was flowing, and my dad's contributions were just little tiny lines, none of which were helpful, just absurd, nonsensical. A lot of them didn't even make sense. So after the 5th one, I was just like,
They all
you've
made
been
sense.
useless.
But someone took the time to write a letter and put a stamp on it in defense of Greg Cote against our onslaught or the show's. What is it?
Yeah, so it's a letter that was sent to us, which, by the way, was the inspiration for me soliciting letters from the audience. We got 4 more yesterday that I was handed after the show. Again, I will only take criticism of the show via letter. So this is from Rob from Spencer, Indiana. And Rob says, Greg Cote Tuesday used to be my favorite day of the week, but with Dan and Chris constantly attacking everything Greg says or does, it has gotten to the point I spend the entire show dreading either of them saying anything. Chris is especially petulant and childish in his behavior toward his father. No matter what Greg says, Chris is going to attack, belittle, make fun of, or just childishly put down, and it is fairly obvious why. Maybe have Chris take the day off when Greg is going to be on. Something needs to be done. It isn't fun or funny anymore. Signed,
Greg Cote.
Rob in Spencer, Indiana.
I did type that letter so my handwriting couldn't be identified.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can't accept any letter that's typed up.
Yeah, get that out of here.
That's
You want to
fair.
send in a letter, you grab yourself a pen
Yep.
and a paper,
you write
and
it.
you show us your penmanship.
Like Aki.
That's what this is all about.
Get on.
Revive the dying form of cursive. We can get into that later.
Oh,
No, but
Embarrassment.
I can't make a Z
I don't want to
in
read
cursive.
cursive letters, so type them out for me, please.
I can't
Yes,
make a Z
please.
in cursive.
good letter.
It's like Raruda.
Really enjoyed that.
It says in the
Thank
letter
you.
that we all know why. What's the why? Why are you so mean to your father? Or what? Well,
I need to go to therapy. I don't know why. Why am I mean to him?
I can take a few guesses. Greg, do you have a back of my day today?
No.
That's it. There you go.
How many times do I got to say no? By the way, we get that on the podcast, on my podcast as well.
Yeah, could it just be that you're annoying?
I would consider that as a remote possibility, I guess.
Could it be that you're very easily irritable with your father?
Yes, but aren't we all?
You go from 0 to 100 very quickly.
We're all
Thank
irritable
you,
with
Woody.
our parent. You don't get irritated with your dad? You don't get irritated with your parents?
No, not that quickly.
You should try working with them.
Oh, that's a good point.
The golden boy.
I'm going to side with Chris Cote. Try working with your dad.
You guys made that choice.
I've got an answer for the Walt Disney thing. False.
No.
What? You can't do this.
No.
Mike Ryan on behalf of Stubborn Defiant.
Here's my source.
Is it Walt Disney?
No, it's Kurt Russell. Those words mean anything to you?
Not even Kurt Russell.
No?
No, I have the Kurt Russell quote here. You want the Kurt Russell quote?
It's his last 2 words.
This is Kurt Russell is told to the Huffington Post.
I assume, as does everybody else, that he was talking about some movie that he was thinking about having me in. I don't know what to make of it other than that. He's referring to not Walt Disney's dying words spoken, but a note that he wrote on, and he wrote right prior to
Perhaps
passing.
he was intubated.
And these
are his final 2 words.
Sure. So these are the notes that were written. The notes were Ron Miller, two-way down cellar. Number 2, Kurt Russell, and he misspelled Kurt. Number 3, CIA Mobley. His last 2 words in writing were CIA Mobley.
Okay. Then I lay my shield down. Kurt Russell was his second last words.
Sure of anything that you've ever been. This is also more reporting being done.
Wait. Those were his last words, technically.
Mike's right.
They pulled me into
it was one solid note, so we're gonna take the entirety of the note and consider them his last words.
You said his last 2 words, though.
I did. And for that, I apologize. But
Russell
technically, I was right.
Apologizes, Bruce Springsteen.
I am Mike Ryan on behalf of
Stubborn Defiant.
Defiance.
Grudging apologies.
I will not apologize. Seems like there was a group of words and Kurt misspelled was one of them.
Quote, they pulled me into the office a couple years after he died, and this woman, who I don't believe it was his secretary, but it might have been, I don't know, pointed to something he wrote, and she said, do you know what that's about? And I said, no, I don't. She said, because he wrote something after it, but then he went back up and he wrote your name. That was the last thing he wrote. And I said, oh, gee, I don't know what it's connected to. This story continues to disappoint.
What are you talking about? I illuminated you in the audience. Most people don't know this useless bit of trivia.
Now I've got more questions than I had before.
Did the CIA kill Walt Disney?
Mobley, a man named Mobley, was responsible.
And now, according to the assistant, who I think is the most trustworthy in this bunch, says he wrote some other words down, but then went back to Kurt Russell. Yeah.
I'm not believing this. I'm not believing any part of this. But what we should be praising is that Walt Disney was very impressed with Kurt Russell's acting and said, quote, a great acting future for Kurt Russell. This is when he was like 15 years old.
And he knew it. He called it out.
Right.
Have you seen Executive Decision? My God, pa.
You seen Tango and Cash?
Of course, but I mean, Executive Decision. It was kind of like
Gabriel.
You know
Cash.
how like
we can't keep doing this. We cannot keep doing this 40-year-old movie. What did Tango and Cash get on Rotten Tomatoes?
There was this weird portion in the late 90s, early 2000s where big action movies came in pairs. Like you couldn't just have one Earth destroyed by an asteroid movie. They had to come out months apart. There were 2 political figures or on a hijacked airplane action movies around the same time. Air Force One. But people forget Executive Decision, where Steven Seagal is in it for about 5 seconds.
Wasn't Kurt Russell?
I get choked up talking about an Executive Decision too, because I wanted to. The marketing plan was that Steven Seagal was going to be in it for a long time. He was all over like the trailer, but no, he gets caught in like some sort of transport from one plane to another, sucked right out of there, altitude.
So basically, it was Samuel L. Jackson in Deep Blue Sea.
Yes.
But wasn't Kurt Russell also like surfing on fire as Snake Plissken or something, trying to like
King of New York and King of
Escape from LA,
Escape from LA, Escape from New York. Yeah.
Well, we did that in reverse order. The sequel was Escape from LA. Snake somehow made it to the other coast.
He was in both of them surfing a wave of fire, or just in the California one surfing a wave of fire.
No, just the California one. Just California one.
You remember that poster, don't you?
I mean, but it's, I remember.
College
oh my
dorm room.
God, Kurt Russell and Stallone in a movie together.
Yo,
amazing.
My freshman year in college, this kid named Scott Serban was my roommate, and Escape from LA was coming out, and he was so hyped for it. He's like, "Oh my god, they finally made a sequel to this," and I was like, I don't know, man. Like,
That was an awful movie.
I'm looking at this poster.
Terrible.
Surfing a wave of fire. That's like the Tug Speedman Scorcher franchise.
It was just a wave. It was just a giant. Was it just a giant wave through California on the streets? Was it a wave on a highway in California? It was something ridiculous.
I don't know, but the eye patch is fire.
To answer your question on Rotten Tomatoes, Tango and Cash received 31% from the critics, 52% from the audience.
Crowd pleaser.
It's a winner.
Amin, I wanted to ask you about everything that's happened here with the Kyler Murray contract situation.
It's a wave of fire. It is literally a wave of fire. It's like cresting at the top with flames, and he's surfing. Snake is back is the tagline.
So it was Escape from LA.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, like unbelievably bad. What'd that get on Rotten Tomatoes? Was it worse than Tango and Cash?
Did John Carpenter do that one?
Yes, he did. John Carpenter's Escape from LA. And surprisingly, 53% from the critics, 39% from the audience score. You know what that means, Roy? Cinephobe eligible.
Mm-hmm. You've never done it.
Never done Escape from LA, but it's always a first time for everything.
John Carpenter also did Ghosts of Mars, right?
Oh, with the Ice Cube. Yeah.
Did you watch that one?
I sure did.
Oh my
so
God,
excited.
is that one bad?
So excited. Ice Cube in space? How could they go wrong? That's what young Amin thought.
Cinephobe, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Greg Cote, I wanted to ask you before we throw it to Amin, your thoughts on what happened with Kyler Murray, the homework clause, and then I was surprised that the disrespect was so profound that the Cardinals pulled the clause, and with a statement that says it was clearly perceived as in ways that were never intended. And I
ridiculous.
As a statement, that seemed amazing to me.
How could it be perceived as anything other than you were basically telling the star of your team, you're either not smart enough or you're not working hard enough? It means the implication is one of those two things, at least in public perception, if not in reality. Just a great mistake by the franchise.
But then to pull it back and eliminate the clause once you've got it, and it can put the thing into default. What were your thoughts as an executive?
Blew my mind that they would capitulate to public perception on a contract clause that was negotiated and agreed to. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, but it looks... Who cares? The kid signed it. His agent told him to sign it. It's unbelievable that people would have an issue with this. If it's that bad of a clause, then the kid wouldn't have signed it.
Maybe his agent signed it for him.
We didn't sign it for him. You don't sign it for him.
No, but maybe the agent knew more about this clause than Kyler did. I don't know how closely players read contracts.
So aren't you in essence doing worse than what the Cardinals allegedly did? Like you're insulting the intelligence of Kyler Murray that he wouldn't even read his contract and know what's in it? If the allegation is to put a homework clause in there means you're insulting his intelligence, isn't the allegation that he didn't read this freaking contract the same kind of thing?
Was Kyler Murray upset by it? Did he feel it was disrespectful?
Yes.
Okay. Isn't that enough reason to say, you know what, this was a bad clause, let's get rid of it?
Is Kyler Murray a fringe NFL player? I'm sorry. I know I'm not a football specialist. Is he a fringe NFL player? If I don't sign this deal, well, maybe there won't be a home for me. Or is he one of the exciting young quarterbacks in this league who has a ton of options and would have no shortage of suitors if he were on the market? The reality is, this is a negotiation. People put things in contracts that are to be negotiated. And everything is negotiable in it, right? So the idea that somehow, by the way, also, why would they put that clause in there? Not for a rookie, not for someone they just drafted who they don't know. Someone who's been in their building for a couple of years now. They put that clause in there. Why would they do that?
I would guess it's because Kyler Murray maybe has a history of not doing enough film study on his own. But that's something that needs to be private between the club and the quarterback, not put out there in a contract.
So that's the interesting part. It's not that they put it in the contract, Greg. It's why do we know? Why was that publicized? Why was that leaked? Because I don't know the details of Tom Brady's contract.
Right.
I don't know the details of Aaron Rodgers' contract. I don't even know the details of Ryan Tannehill's contract. Why do I know the details of his contract? That was leaked by somebody. Whom? We don't know. Might have been the team. Might have been the agent who was pissed that his client demanded to sign it because he was scared or whatever. I don't know. But what I'm saying is the existence of the clause, there's nothing wrong with that because it's negotiated and because it's addressing something that clearly was a concern. The part where the Cardinals like, Twitter was mad and they had to pull it back, that's even more insane to me than even having it in there in the first place.
The quote, it was clearly perceived in ways that were never intended. What am I missing? What could it possibly be that they're trying to say with that sentence?
Why would they care?
Well, perception does matter.
No, it doesn't.
Kyler came out and had a press conference where he lamented it after agreeing to the clause.
Okay. All right. And?
People were making assumptions.
By Thanksgiving, do you think it's an issue still?
No, I think it goes out. That was attributed to July.
So sometimes people are going to react to stuff that they don't know enough about. Again, they put that clause in there. It's not because he's a black quarterback, because there have been plenty of black quarterbacks who haven't had that clause in their contract. It's not because they don't know him, because he's been there a couple of years. They put it in there for a reason. They argued for it, they fought for it, and they won the argument. That's it. Case closed. He's happy, he's not happy. That's his deal. This is the NFL. Deal with it. The idea that they would be swayed by public reaction to a privately negotiated contract is insane to me.
I get what you're saying as somebody from, and this is something that's happened on air with you recently, where there have been a handful of times where you've looked up and I'm like, oh, okay, I've arrived at an age where I'm looking at things the way they were. Young player, that important, gets his feelings hurt and takes down his social media with the Cardinals, and now comes out in a way that adds fuel to the fire right at the start of signing that contract. Yeah, organization betrayed me, joke, disrespect, didn't do team player stuff. That's a different athlete for a different time who doesn't care very much what you, the executive, thinks. Don't hurt his feelings that way. He's the star of your team. You've insulted him.
Okay.
You've treated him as not... he's your star, and whether you think it's sensitive or not, he's still your star. And it appears that it bothered him.
So, again, was he bothered by the clause, or was he bothered by the publicity around it and what people were reacting and was like, hey, that's a good point. They are making me... Is that what happened? Or is it... Because here's the deal. Here's another scenario for you. Hey, Kyler, here's the deal. We're going to pay you $200 million, whatever. By the way, we want you to do 4 hours of homework. And he says, this is bullshit. Hey, the Cardinals go on Twitter or on Instagram. They're offering me a deal that's insulting my intelligence here. That's what someone who is empowered and a modern-day athlete who is insulted would do. They would immediately reveal the insult. They wouldn't say, oh, you got a point. Give me that pen. This is unfair. Why'd you sign it? Why'd you sign it? And by the way, and let's just assume that he didn't know or whatever, right? And he signs it, and after he signs it, he figures it out. And now his feelings are hurt, and we have to care about his feelings.
Well, it's a story because it became public.
It became public, absolutely. But the hurt feelings and that you have to care about his feelings. I'm not like a Neanderthal where I'm like, just get in line. Business is business. But also, when you go down that line where you are worried about the feelings of your star player for a contract that he signed not years ago, a week ago, when you go down that's how you get to Kyrie and Kevin Durant. That's the land you've landed in. Where it's like, just don't be mad. Don't be. Sometimes people have to have their feelings hurt. Sometimes they got to be mad. Sometimes they got to just deal with stuff that didn't break in their favor. We can't be in the business of continuously trying to placate athletes, right? I'm not saying it's got to be run like the military.
But I mean,
the opposite.
In that situation, most quarterbacks take one for the team. And the culture of what football's always been, that insult, the quarterback does not make it worse by being hurt feelings in public. And it's a new age. Like, that's not who your quarterback is anymore. He's a little guy who scrambles, who changes the rules, and he's got a different temperament than some of the others.
He's also a little guy that falls apart in the second half of the season, not just physically. I mean, you all saw that playoff game. It was bizarre. There are times where he appears healthy, and teams that have had more than one look at him kind of get wise to his game. And it does help frame. That clause does kind of help explain what's happened the last 2 seasons.
But they
where
took
he's not
it
the same
out.
player at the second half.
They took
it out because they capitulated to mass hysteria of people who don't operate inside the walls of your organization. We don't matter. I could be here on the other side saying, that's an insult to Kyler Murray. I don't matter. You don't matter. None of us matter. All that matters are the people in that building. Kyler Murray, the general manager, the head coach, his agent, and the owner of the team. Those are the people that matter. And they listen to not the people who matter. They listen to us clowns, just with a hot take and a gut feeling. Mike, do you remember in the bubble when the players were thinking about not playing because of all the racial tension and strife, right? And then they talked about it and they said, look, man, financially, it's a good thing for our constituency. And then they put it up for the executive board. And it came back unanimous. We're going to play in this bubble. And after it was, okay, we're going to do it, Kyrie Irving said, I don't know, guys. He's on the executive board. You voted for it. You didn't fight hard for it. But because people started saying the NBA players sold out. Hey, yeah, we did sell out. Like, I'm not here for people being swayed by what Twitter thinks, by what Instagram thinks. That's not a way to do business.
The Cardinals just got bullied by how all of that happened.
They allowed themselves.
More context, Kyler Murray openly admitted last December in a New York Times profile that he doesn't watch a lot of film. He's quoted, I think I was blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. I am not one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film. It's totally plausible after him openly saying that they would put that clause in there.
Now, you know what the counterpoint is, right? Because I came up with a counterpoint against this. The counterpoint is that football glorifies and mythologizes the concept of overwork.
You were prepared for this question?
I was, yeah.
You knew I was going to ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
You prepared. You wrote notes.
I wrote notes, Dan, along with my...
I'm very jealous of you. Counterpointed yourself.
I counterpointed myself.
You're looking at your phone now and reading material. That is not something I see happen around here very often.
Along with my Ron McGill question, I swam by a stingray. Was I in danger? That's for next week. Next time I'm on, I'm going to ask him that one.
You forgot that note.
You forgot to ask.
No. I didn't want to overflow. I have a bunch of Ron McGill questions that I just write every time I think of one. And so every week I'll have a question every time I'm here.
I like doing that. I like writing notes.
I
thought I had a good one with how many times would you have died in colonial times? Like a fart in the wind.
How many times?